Hello everybody, it's Mavic here, and today I'm gonna be showcasing you the Creepers Code Datapack. It's a very well known datapack which, for example, DanTDM uses in his new hardcore survival series. So let's begin. And I'm gonna start with the recipe changes that were added to vanilla. With this datapack you can now repair tridents by surrounding them with 8 prismarine crystals, as you can see here. If I take a trident and surround it with prismarine crystals, it will be repaired. One second. There we go. The next recipe added to vanilla is that now you can craft coral blocks out of corals. If you take corals, for example, there are 5 types of them, both alive and dead, and from each of them you can create a block with this crafting recipe. Next thing added back to Minecraft is the enchanted golden apple, which you can craft with the old recipe by surrounding an apple with golden blocks. And I will demonstrate that right now. If you take an apple and surround it with golden blocks, we get an enchanted golden apple. Next thing added to vanilla is now you can repair anvils by adding an iron block in the smithing table. If we take an anvil, it doesn't matter which broken anvil it is, it can be damaged or chipped, and if we add a block, we can repair it. And now you have an anvil ready to work again. The next thing they added into vanilla is that when you craft stairs, you get 8 of them. When you craft trapdoors, you craft 6 of them, and you can also craft stone tools out of cobbled deep slate. Another change is that now you can get obsidian by smelting crying obsidian in a simple furnace, as you can see here. And also you can smelt soul sand in order to get glass, as you can see, but you need specifically to use a simple furnace, not a blast furnace, but this very furnace. Alright, new items. The first item they added is a swordfish. There's 1% of getting it while fishing, and you can actually eat it. But I wouldn't recommend you doing that because it only restores half of the bar and it damages you. 3 hearts to be exact. Alright, so the next thing they added is the Lockout of Learning. You get a 2.5 drop % from enchantments, but we'll get to that later. This is basically a battery for your experience levels. For example, we take this Lockout of Learning and it's full. And if we go into survival, we can add ourselves levels by shifting and clicking the right button. And if you want to put levels into that thing, we unshift and do the same thing. And levels get taken away. This thing stores 30 levels, enough for you to make a full enchantment. Next thing is bundles. They added them earlier than the game officially allows you to, and you can also color them with multiple colors. The next thing they added is the charged music discs. You get it when the charged creeper gets killed by a skeleton, and what this thing does is that when you put it in a jukebox, a thunderstorm starts. But this will be very useful in your head farms. And also you can obtain the piglin discs when a creeper is killed by a piglin with a bow. Next useful feature that they added is this little thing that allows you to understand whether the mobs are gonna spawn or not. As you can see, there are 4 bars of light, and if there are all 4 of them, then no one will spawn. And you can basically read what those signs say. And if we go into the darkness, we can indeed see that the light level goes down as we go further. And right here is the complete darkness with only 1 light bar. Next thing they added is those peculiar berries. You can now obtain them from the wandering traders, and what those things do, you cannot eat them yourself. But if you feed those berries to chicken, as you can see here, those chicken will lay different spawn eggs. We can go down here and you can see that amongst simple eggs, there are multiple unusual eggs like geomancers, different zombies, cows and donkeys, and etc. Next useful feature is that if you kill bats now, you can get up to 2 bat wings, and with this simple recipe you can get leather. Next thing that they added is a wrench. You can craft it by putting iron bars like this, and this thing allows you to, when you press shift, you can rotate different blocks. This is very useful. This has been made by various mods. I don't know why they didn't make it in vanilla. Very useful too. Another useful feature that they added is a paintbrush. You can craft it by putting wheat, planks and sticks like this, and this thing allows you to color multiple blocks. If we take, for example, red dye, you need to put it in your offhand, and now if you shift click, you can color different shulker boxes, concrete, you can change paintings, with this thing, and also you can paint shulkers. Let's go down here with our shulker, and you can paint him as well, just like that. Another useful feature is they added a phantom item frame. It can be crafted by surrounding the phantom membrane with sticks, and this thing simply disappears when you put an item in it. Alright, the next thing they added is tea. You can basically brew tea in this game now. You need a teapot, which is crafted like this, with chains, iron bars, and iron nugget, and you basically need to put this teapot on a campfire, and it puts itself like this. And now I'm gonna teach you how to brew tea in Minecraft. First thing you need is a bottle of water. You take the bottle and you fill the teapot. The second thing you need is this thing, warped wort. It's crafted like this, and basically you need to take it and put it inside the teapot, just like that. Next thing is very interesting. You can add multiple effects to this thing. And what tea does, it's like when fire resistance gives you resistance from fire, those things give you resistance to multiple other effects, like nausea, for example, wither, blindness, and etc. There are multiple teas you can brew with those extra things added in the game, well, which I will teach you later on. For example, there's this ancient acorn, which gives you protection to mining fatigue, and you can get it by fortune shoveling podzol, or they fall from spruce trees in Mega Tree Taiga, and as I've mentioned, you can trade with a wandering trader. You can also trade peculiar berries, yeah. Next unique ingredient is the frostbloom petals, which gives you protection from slowness. And you can get it from bone milling this plant right here. We can bone mill it, and as you can see, it drops a lot of those petals. And also it drops from this mob, new mob, and from this mob. And the last new ingredient is the reef juice bottle. You get it from this plant, but I will also tell you about it later. And when you come to the teapot, you can actually add it to the tea. The default tea will only give you the antidote effect for 5 minutes. If you want to make it longer, you need to take this thing called snail mucium, or museum, I don't know. I'll tell you about it later on. And when you add it, the tea has a longer effect. And to pick it up, you need to pick a teacup. Let me show you how to craft it. The teacup is crafted like this, with 3 quarts, and basically you come to the teapot and you pick up that tea. As you can see, we've picked up the tea, which has levitation immunity for 7.5 minutes, and when you drink it, you get immune to the levitation. So for example, if we go to our friend Shulker right here, and we go into survival, when he tries to hit us, we don't have the levitation effect now. Now I'm gonna show you what weapons and armor they added. For example, first thing they added is the Cursed Crown. You can get this Cursed Crown by fortune mining soul sand. And when you put on this crown, it has Curse of Biden, by the way. Every drop you get from mobs is going to be golden nuggets. But unfortunately, the Wikipedia says that it also applies to farming, but as you can see, we don't get gold when we pick up different foods. Next thing is the witch hat. It has 7.5 chance drop from witch when you kill it by hand. That means that if you have a witch farm, you need to manually kill witches to get this hat. This hat allows you to trade with witches. As you can see, it looks very cool. Another weapon they added is a boomerang. You can simply craft it by putting planks and leather like this, and you can shoot boomerang just like that, and it damages quite a bit, and it comes back to you. Very useful if you don't want to waste your arrows. Another version of the boomerang is the glowing boomerang, spectral boomerang, sorry. You craft it with glowstone instead of leather, and this thing doesn't do any damage, but it can go through walls, and it highlights any mob that it hits. So there's some fish in this aquarium I have, and you can see that it's there. And it's very useful if you want to locate caves by hitting mobs just like that. It doesn't do damage, keep that in mind. Okay, so the next thing is the obsidian scythe that they added, which is crafted by obsidian shards, which I'm gonna show you later on. And what this thing does, it allows you to pick up more foods from the farms. It picks up, when you stand, you count 4 blocks in each direction, and it picks all of them up, just like that. And it's very helpful that you can pick up all different kinds of food separately. But unfortunately, it doesn't help you to pick up any melons. Okay, so how do you craft those obsidian shards? You need a blast furnace, where you smelt an obsidian and with coal or something and you get obsidian shards, but this process is very long and it's only available with a blast furnace. Normal furnace will not allow you to do this. Keep that in mind too. And because I began speaking about obsidian shards, there are two more things that I need to tell you about. First one is the smoldering sticker. This thing allows you to track nether fortresses in nether. So if you go to the nether right here, so now we're in the nether, and if you click this thing, it actually tracks itself to the nearest fortress we have. And you can also make this thing track the lodestone you click, just like that. And the second cool thing that we have is, if we go down here, they added an obsidian mirror. And what this thing does, it reverses different effects. For example, if we take the potion of slowness and spit it on us, we have the slowness effect now. But if we use a mirror, this slowness effect reverts to speed. And now we have speed. We can click once again and it reverts back to slowness. But the mirror loses its durability. If we go into survival and click it a few times, you see that the durability went down. Okay, now we're done with weapons and armor. There's also jewelry and tipped swords added into the game. So to make a tipped sword, you need a lingering potion and a sword. And what you do is that you throw a potion and then you throw a sword into that potion. And the sword acquires the potion effect that you gave it. And now this sword, whenever I hit someone, they will get invisibility. For example, let's get a mushroom cow. And as you can see, if I hit it, it becomes invisible for a short period of time. You can give this type of enchantments not only to swords, but also to the new added rings. There are 3 rings: iron ring, golden ring and netherite ring, which are crafted with those recipes right here. And the difference between them is that the iron ring has 100 durability, golden ring has a 50 durability, and the most expensive, the netherite ring, it has the biggest durability, plus it doesn't burn in lava. There are 2 ways of tipping those. You can use a potion to linger those rings. As you can see, this ring now has invisibility, and if we click, we become invisible for a bit. You can see the enchantment here. An important note, if you linger an iron ring, it will have the effect will be twice as short as if you would enchant a golden ring or a netherite ring. The second way to enchant those rings is by using this table. I'm gonna put the crafting recipe on the screen, and this menu, do not let it scare you. It basically has everything explained here, but I'll explain you once more. If you take a ring and put a potion, nothing happens. That's because you need this little dust thing that you can see here. And in order to get that, we need to smash an anvil onto these blocks. So if you smash an anvil, it falls down and it cracks those. And we get a lot of amethyst dust. And if we take this dust to the table, and if we put a lingering potion now, we can easily enchant our ring with a certain effect. You can also add different gemstones to your rings. You can add only one at a time, and those gemstones give different effects. For example, if we put a diamond gemstone, we get bonus hearts. If we get emerald gemstones, we get a bonus increased mob loot. And you can read everything by yourself, what those different gemstones do to you. To make a gemstone, you need to take, for example, a diamond and put it in the stone cutter. We go here, we take this out, and we got a second gemstone. To add a gemstone to the ring, you need to take a ring to add a gemstone and put amethyst dust. If we put only one amethyst dust, we get only one bonus effect. But if we put more than 20 amethyst dust. But if we add more than 20 amethyst dust, the effect will be twice as hard. Now, as you can see, the diamond ring has +2 max health when in offhand. So if I go into survival, and we can see that I have 1 more heart. But if I take the more advanced ring in my hand, you can see that I have twice the amount of bonus hearts. And that goes for every enchantment we have with those gemstones. Now that we're done with the gemstones, I'm gonna be showing you what new food we have with this data pack. The first one is the enchanted golden carrot. It seems odd, but it's very interesting because it adds the night vision effect for 5 minutes. As you can see, I have night vision. Very cool. The next thing we have in gold is the golden chorus fruit, and it teleports you. And in order to demonstrate that, look at my coordinates. As you can see, I get teleported dramatically. You can even escape end if you eat one of those. The next thing we have added is a rotten pork chop. It's basically rotten flesh, but it drops from the zombie piglins and zoglins instead of rotten flesh. Another thing is the ancient acorn. As I've mentioned earlier, and if you eat it, it gives you haste 2 for 5 minutes. Another food thing they added is an apple pie. It's crafted like that, and why is it useful? It's useful because it's more times consumable than 2 apples. So this pie is basically 3 apples, which you get from only 2. And it has the same restoring effect as bread. As you can see, it's tagged as bread, but it's like 3 apples. And same goes for golden apples and for even enchanted golden apples. So you can craft 3 enchanted golden apples out of 2. The next thing we have is the sweet berry muffins. They basically simple bread. They restore you the same amount as bread does, but you can craft them from berries, which is a very interesting concept. And same goes for glowberries. You can make muffins out of glowberries. Another thing related to food is that now you can break pies on each step of them being eaten, and they will drop with the saved amount of slices left, pieces left. I don't know. This data pack also adds 2 new types of suspicious stew, and what those suspicious stews do is this one adds you levitation effect for 10 seconds and this one gives you water breathing effect for 10 seconds. I messed up the crafting recipe. It should be the normal mushroom here. You got the idea. And the last food stuff we have is the frost bloom petals. If you eat those, let me do that real quick, you'll get the regeneration effect, but you will also get slowness with this snowy icy effect applied to your screen. You can avoid it by pressing F1 if you want, but it's not really useful in combat because aside of regeneration you'll get slowness too for a bigger amount of time. Now let's talk about new mobs added with this data pack. The first one is the Glowlichen zombie. You can find the zombie in normal worlds, it's gonna be Y level 40 or below, and in extended worlds this thing is gonna spawn in Y equals 0 or below. And this is just basically a simple zombie, but when it hits you, it gives you blindness effect, so watch out. The next new mob added is Geomancer. This thing is gonna spawn in deep caves, and this thing is really deadly, because not only does this thing spawn pillars, then explode trying to kill you, but this thing also traps you inside blocks that you cannot break, and which makes it even more difficult considering that you will be fighting this thing in a cave. So the caves are gonna become even deadlier with this data pack. Another mob they added is the Iceologer, and what this thing does, it spawns ice which falls on your head and gives you slowness effect, as well as some damage. And the last but not least mob that this data pack adds is taken from Minecraft Dungeons, by the way, and this thing doesn't do anything to you specifically, but it boosts other mobs. As you can see particles here, you saw particles on this mob, and what this mob does, it gives different effects for this mob, for example speed. I also forgot to mention the drops from those mobs. From the Glowlichen zombie you get Glowlichen, from the Geomancer you get this stuff. From the Iceologer you get this stuff, you get ice, you get Frostbloom and Frostbloom petals, and from the Geomancer you get the Locket of Learning, and also the Witch, which is a vanilla mob, but if you put on a witch hat you can see that there are new particles from the witch, and now you can even trade with her. You can see whether the trades are here. You can get the peculiar berries, the tea, I don't know, different useful stuff from the witch now, which is very cool. Another thing with mobs is that now if you pick up different axolotls with a bucket, you can actually see the texture of those axolotls. Now you can see if you picked up the blue one or the usual one. And also with this change, there comes the change with drowns. Now they can spawn covered with different corals, which will drop from them, and also there's a variant covered in sponge. There are also drowns, just usual drowns, but these are very interesting ones. Another interesting mob added is snails. As you can see, they look really cute. They come in different colors. There are 6 different snails, and they spawn in swamp biomes, and they are really rare to find. You can pick them up using a bucket. As you can see, you get a bucket of snail, and these things have multiple functions. Basically, they are a little slime farms, because if you feed them beetroot, they will drop this snail mucum we talked about earlier. This snail mucum is useful for making the tea effect longer, but also you can use it as a slime ball in recipes. You can craft different things, like sticky piston, for example. You can use snail mucum, I don't know what this thing is, if you feed them the beetroot. But if you want them to become a larger colony, you use a beetroot soup. And if you feed them beetroot soup, as you can see, they will lay eggs. They will make so-called nests. After about half an hour or 20 minutes, this nest will hatch, the block will break, and you will get new snails, a lot of mucum, and a lot of clay. So this can be also useful if you want to get more clay out of already existing clay. Next thing they added is related to the Elder Guardians. As you can see, if you spawn an Elder Guardian, this thing gives you a mining fatigue effect. If I go into survival, it will give me a mining fatigue effect. Yeah, there we go. So now we have the mining fatigue effect for 5 minutes. And usually when we kill the Elder Guardian, we still have the effect. But now with this data pack, if we kill this thing really quickly, the effect is no more. Also, a new feature added with this data pack is that now when you have those squids, and if you try to hit them, they will make you blind for a second. As you can see, I get a blindness effect for a bit if you hit them, which is not really useful, but it's realistic. The next realistic effect they added is that when you breed pigs, you get not only 1, but up to 3 children. Usually it's 2 or 3 children. Another mod this datapack adds is this plant, which is called the Gobble Rift. And you will find this thing in the end dimension. I'm gonna show it a bit later, but you will find it in this form. It's gonna look like a bit of grass. And what you need to do is you either wait for a really long time or you bone meal this thing. And you will need a lot of bone meal. Let me go into survival and I'll show you. You'll need more than a stack of bone meal, I believe. And as you can see, I've spent 1.5 stacks of bone meal just to make this plant fully grow. You better bring a lot of bone meal with you. And so what this thing does is you take meat, any meat will do, and you put meat in this thing. Again, you'll need a lot of meat, but only like half a stack. When you fill this little chest thing with meat, it will close, but I'm gonna show you what it will be like when the thing is done. Like if I do it in creative, the process goes immediately, and it basically digested the whole meat, and now we have this juice. And you take just one bottle and you pick this juice up, and you have a bottle of rift juice, the thing we've mentioned earlier in the game. And what this thing does is that if you drink it, it teleports you to this plant no matter where you are. You can be in the nether, you can be in the overworld, you can be in the end dimension, in any dimension. I also believe it's compatible with dimensional mods you can install to your game, and if you drink this juice you get immediately teleported back. But if you destroy this plant, you need to kill it, you no longer can teleport there, and it just doesn't work. And the last change to mobs is that now withers can spawn with the magical swords tipped with wither or with bows. And also wither skeletons now act same way as usual skeletons. If one skeleton hurts another one, they start fighting each other. Alright, new blocks. The first new block added to the game is crafted with the crying obsidian, cobble deep slate and dispensers. And it looks like this. It's called positional anchor. What this thing does is that you take an ender pearl, you put an ender pearl in this thing, and it's basically an ender pearl chamber, which you can activate with redstone. As you can see, it drops. And yeah, it works like this. The next block added is crafted with a gilded blackstone, nether star and netherite scrap, and this thing is called nether reactor core. Now this thing is gonna be familiar to those people who've played Minecraft early on, for example me, and you need to build a special thing for it to work. I'm gonna go in survival. Like you will need 4 blocks of gold, 14 polished blackstone bricks or whatever blackstone bricks you have, I believe, and the nether reactor core. You put gold like this. You fill this area with blackstone, then you put blackstone up like this, nether core, and then you make like a giant plus on it. And as soon as you do, the golden blocks are gonna turn into gilded blackstone, as you can see. This nether core, however, doesn't place any netherrack around it, but it gives you fire resistance in a 64 block radius. It also gives Strider's Speed 3 effect, which is really fast, and clears any wither effects you have. And the last new block added to the game is crafted like this. You need cobblestone, redstone, and any diamond tool plus shears, and you get those blocks that kinda remind me of that one bad robot from the Robots movie, if you ask me. There are 5 types of them, and if you activate them with redstone, they mine certain blocks they have. Like for example, you can see here. And if I activate, they do this. It kind of works like a dispenser, so if you don't place any chests, they will just spit the blocks out, and you can pick them up with hoppers. But if you put a chest here, they are picked up with chests. And these things are very interesting because you can come up with interesting, very compact farms. For example, this one here I came up with. This farm makes 1 basalt and 1 cobblestone per second, which is very dope. And it's really compact, as you can see. Another thing to notice here is that if you want to pick up melons and pumpkins, you need the blocks with X instead of with hoe. Because this block with hoe, which is called harvester, despite all logic, does not pick up those blocks. And the last thing about them is that if you want to enchant them, you need to throw a book in front of them and activate them, and they will get this enchantment glow. So now, for example, if we put stone in front of them, you can see that this block picked up cobblestone and this one did with stone. Now we're gonna discuss edit and change mechanics. For example, you know that there are a lot of heads in Minecraft, and previously you could obtain only 4 of those. However, now if a charged creeper kills certain mobs, including you can get your head, and you can get heads of all those mobs you have here. But also, you can craft your head using a skeleton head and the golden melon. Another change is made to the charged creepers. You see, there's a new sound added to them. If you see in the subtitles, this sound is called Charged Creeper Crackles or something. Yeah, there you go. So this sound isn't made really often because creepers need to be sneaky after all, but there's a new sound for them. Another thing added to vanilla Minecraft is that now absorption hearts stack. So for example, if I keep eating golden apples, I will get more and more absorption hearts. And the maximum is 10 hearts, so you cannot go higher than that. Another thing is fishing. And fishing now is gonna be biome based. So for example, if you fish in the ocean, you will usually get Nautilus shells. For example, if you go to the end and fish there, you will get shulker shells instead. And that goes for the whole loot table system. Another feature has to do with the Frostwalker enchantment on boots. Now boots will give you speed when you walk on any type of ice, although it sometimes takes a little while to register. And also now horses you ride with this enchantment on your boots will also put water on ice. But if you go off of this horse, it will no longer have this ability. And this horse better stay in its stables. Another vanilla feature changed in this data pack is that now you can climb chains. You can put them like this, you can put them like this, and you can easily climb them now. But you need to remember that this side isn't climbable, so if you put them like that, that won't do anything. One more feature changed has to do with elytras. Now there's a cool feature that you can close your elytras while flying. You press shift and you're closed, and you need to press spacebar again to open them. This is really useful because usually if you try to land somewhere, you're gonna take damage. For example, let me try this. Bam, I took damage. But now if you press shift right before you land on those ladders, you're gonna take no damage whatsoever. Another feature is really interesting. Now if you put a dragon head on and you have those end crystals nearby, they're gonna give you regeneration effect. This effect can go really far. As you can see, I can go all the way up here and I'll still have regeneration effect. Just like that. And the datapack creator describes it as if crystals think you're a dragon and start healing you. Next thing datapack changes is what you get from the fortune shovel mining. For example, I use this netherite shovel enchanted with fortune 3 and I mine certain blocks. For example, if you mine mycelium, you can get all these loots. You get a lot of food, and a lot of food. If you mine puzzle with a shovel, you get a lot of that. You get saplings, cobblestone, different food again, and even iron axes. I tried, however, apply the emerald luck effect, but this doesn't change anything because, as you can see, the loot here is even worse than it was before. Another thing you can fortune mine now is soul sand, and you get all of this nice loot. You get wither roses, nether bricks, cursed crowns even, and gold. If you mine simple sand though, you get nothing. You get just simple sand. But if you mined red sand, man oh man, this thing is the best you can imagine. You get music discs, you get redstone, a lot of leather, bottles of enchantment, iron, and saplings, which is amazing. As you can remember, dropping an anvil on the amethyst blocks would break them. Now that works not only with them, it works with glass, tinted glass, and even glass panes. As you can see, if I drop an anvil, all those blocks break. And if they can drop, they drop. Not only can you break blocks with anvils now, you can also crack them. For example, there are 6 kind of cracked blocks in Minecraft, and you can make them by simply dropping an anvil from a 3-block height. As you can see, if I drop them, all those blocks crack. And now you don't have to craft them like this, you can just use an anvil. Another change to Minecraft is what you can mine with Silk Touch enchantment now. For example, you can mine the farmland, you can mine different paths. I'm not gonna break the farmland because there's water there. You can mine composters, and they're gonna be filled with the same amount you would fill them before. And it will remember the amount of fillness it had. You can also mine infested blocks without having silverfish spawn here. You can mine moonlight detectors without them changing to the daylight detectors. And you can even mine respawn anchors, but that's gonna take a while with my ex, so I'm not gonna do that now. Another interesting change to Minecraft is the way you die with the Totem of Undying. As you can see right now, I'm drowning underwater, and now if you drown while holding the Totem of Undying, you'll get the water breathing effect. Just like that. And if you were to fall in the void with the Totem of Undying, well, I'm not gonna describe it, this happens. Also, with this data pack, you'll get different drops if you mine the campfires different way. For example, if you mine it with your hand or anything, you will just get charcoal. If you mine it with just an axe, you'll get an unlit campfire. And if you mine it with any tool enchanted with Silk Touch, you will just get a lit campfire again. Doesn't matter if it's a hoe or if it's an axe. But if you try to mine a campfire with a Silk Touch book, you will, however, simply get charcoal. So keep that in mind. Now we're gonna talk about villager improvements and what new they have to sell you. Masons now are gonna sell you different gemstones that are useful to put them on your rings. Toolsmiths are gonna sell you those rings. And librarians have a very unique feature. You can find different librarians selling you different quest books. There are 4 types of them to be exact. A mage quest, a rogue quest, a warrior quest, and a healer's quest. The way it works is that you get a set of achievements to accomplish, and you can open them in your achievement section. I'm gonna put on the screen all the achievements you need for all the quests, and when you finish those quests, you'll get the complete quest book, which you can later sell to any librarian you can find and get emerald blocks from them. And the best part, you can complete those quests over and over again, but you can only complete one at a time. And the last change to villagers is the loot you can buy from the Wandering Trader. You can buy Ancient Acorn, you can buy Peculiar Berries, and you can buy Village or Pillage Explorer map, which I'm gonna show you right here. So if you see this cross on the map, it's either a village or a pillager outpost with a 50% chance. So if we go there, we can find that this time led us to a simple village. And with that said, I'm gonna show different structures this datapack adds. So the first one isn't really a structure, it's just now if you visit the village, there is a chance of a beehive spawning, and you can get easy beehives like that. The biggest structure change in this datapack is the ocean monument. As you can see, I'm coming closer and this ocean monument looks amazing. Look at it. It's not only more beautiful on the outside, now the monument has more treasures on the inside. There are a lot of rooms with coral blocks, there are even rooms with golden blocks and iron blocks, and even some loot in the barrels here. But there's a downside to that, of course. Now, instead of one Elder Guardian, there are 3 of them. The first one is located in the main place, as you can see he's right there, and 2 more are located on those 2 sides. Like there's one on this side and another one is on this side. So, good luck cleaning up the monuments now. One more thing changed in the sea is the ocean ruins. Now if you find a big ocean ruins, there's a chance of this structure spawning. You can see there are a lot of trapdoors, and if you go down there, you can see that there's actually a place here. And you will always find a trident here. I've already picked it up, it's in my inventory, but this thing will be here, and no one's gonna touch it. You hear me? Also make sure to fly around and to seek around, because there are gonna be a lot of chests hidden around this area. Another one of those structures is a tundra king. You can find it in the snowy biomes and in the mountain biomes, and basically this thing looks like this. There's an upper floor, and if you go down, there's basically an underground floor too. And the reward from cleaning this tundra keep is you can find this frost blossom. Another change is made to the mansion structure, because if you go to the main entrance of it, you can notice that there is a staircase behind it. And if you go downwards, you can see that there is a huge addition to this mansion. There's a lot of cool loot, a lot of mobs, and basically this thing looks amazing. And the loot here is simply divine. And the last new structure we have is the end city additions. You can find them near the end cities, and they look like that. You have a gobble rift surrounded with shulkers which try to protect it. And this is a really cool challenge for you if you want to get one of those teleportation plants. There's also one interesting feature I forgot to mention, is that if you type a command trigger TCC emoji, you can see that you can now use emojis in chat, and basically you now can communicate with others using emojis in Minecraft. And now let me show you how to actually install this datapack to your world. So to install this datapack, we first need to go to the website. The link is gonna be in the description, and we need to press the download button. As you can see, there is a datapack downloaded, there is a folder, and we need to open it. As you can see, there are 2 files, a datapack and a resource pack. And now we go into Minecraft. We need to create a new world. Open the datapack folder, open pack folder, and now you need to place files from this zip file called datapack into this folder. As you do so, when you go to Minecraft, you can see that there's datapack here. You press OK, you press done, and then what you do is you go to Ape Data, Minecraft, Resource Packs, and you place this resource pack here. I've already done it, but you need to do that yourself here, and you need to choose it, and then you just type any world name you can and just create new world. Press proceed, and you will have a new world with this datapack already installed. Basically that's it. Thanks for watching, bye!